We're talking about relationships. John Gottman at the University of Washington set up an apartment with cameras and microphones, and he would have one couple at a time spend the weekend. Now, he discovered patterns about how partners relate to each other that can be used to predict with 94% accuracy which marriages will succeed and which will fail. Now, many of these things also apply to friendships and business relationships as well. And what he found boils down to three things: roles, responses, and things to avoid. Roles. The happiest couples had these two traits: conflict startup. Now, conflict startup was a big issue because a conflict ends how it started 96% of the time. If someone wanted to discuss a subject that might result in conflict, he or she would start the conversation in a kind way and most likely get a kind response in return, and never use name calling. Honey, would you please pick up the dishes works much better than, hey, you slob, do I look like your servant? The husband had a tendency to give in to the wife's request. As many long married husbands can tell you, yes, dear, and okay, honey makes big points. Responses. When one member of the couple made a bid for affection, such as asking the husband or wife to turn away from the computer and talk, or opening one's arms for a hug, etc., the spouse in the happy relationship would respond positively to the bid for affection at least 85% of the time. Finally, things to avoid. Psychologists have identified 4 key problems that lead to divorce. Number 1 is criticism, putting the other person down. Note that criticism is different from complaining, which reflects your unhappiness without the insult. It's important to me that we arrive on time, or it bothers me when you're late is fine. Your being an irresponsible slowpoke is not. So comment on the behavior and how you feel about it, not the person. Number 2, defensiveness, denial of responsibility for any part of the problem. Number 3 is contempt, the suggestion that you're superior in some way to the other person. And this is frequently manifested not only in words, but also in a very specific facial expression where one side of the mouth is drawn down further to the side, creating the unhappy dimple, often accompanied by the roll of the eyes. And stonewalling, a refusal to engage and provide feedback or ignoring the other person. And the worst of these is contempt, thinking you're superior. So starting in a kind way in conflicts and talking about their behavior and not their character goes a long way.